people make it, they all can turn around and thank Beyonce because that's it.
I have been falsely imprisoned through the misuse of the Baker Act, the Marchman Act, and a petition for a guardianship.
And enough is enough. I'm fucking coming for everyone now.
What if the biggest stars in music weren't just idols, but architects of something far darker than the public ever imagined? We see the same narrative all the time. Industry shoutouts to Beyonce. Jay-Z praised as a genius mogul, their power couple image splashed across every magazine. But deep down, hasn't anyone ever wondered what it really costs to stand at the top of an industry built on secrecy and sacrifice? Tonight, we're not just spilling tea, we're opening a vault of stories the industry hopes you'll never connect. From M.I.A sharing how she felt pressured to join strange rituals, to a survivor's raw account of alleged false imprisonment, to a daughter exposing the twisted secrets she claims existed within her own family. Connected to Roc Nation, these aren't just rumors whispered in smoky rooms. These are testimonies on camera, legal documents, FBI investigations, and patterns that are becoming harder to ignore. You already sense something is off. Why do so many bright young talents end up broken, silent, or gone too soon, while the same familiar faces keep rising higher? What if those superfan chants and sold-out concerts are really fueling something hidden? A game of energy, influence, and manipulation so powerful it could shape your mind without you ever realizing it. We're going beyond scandal tonight. We're connecting the dots the news skips, the stories stars deny, and the evidence that keeps surfacing just like it did with Diddy, and as some believe may eventually happen with others like Jay-Z and Beyonce. The circle isn't just cracking tonight. It's being exposed. Stick around. This might just change the way you see the superstar world forever. Let's be real, Hollywood wants you distracted. They want you streaming, dancing, arguing online about who the real queen is. So, you never start noticing the patterns hiding in plain sight. But M.I.A noticed them, and she's telling her story exactly as she experienced it. Behind the glitz, there's a price paid in silence, loyalty, and sometimes, if you believe the bravest voice is speaking out, ritual.
Jay-Z and I signed to Roc Nation, the first thing he told me to do is get plastic surgery. I'm not insecure because I would have got plastic surgery. People make it, they all can turn around and thank Beyonce because that's it. And enough is enough. I'm fucking coming for everyone now. And even Adele, because she's retired now, but her career would not exist if I hadn't made Jonathan Dickens into a manager. And when she gets an award, she thanks Beyonce. Oh, I didn't want to drip myself in blood and cover myself and swim in goop, in black goop, and can like wear devil horns to sell a record. Fuck that. Or be a witch, or be that, all of that. Fuck all of that.
She says it loudly and without hesitation. In her story, Jay-Z and Beyonce aren't just music moguls, they're gatekeepers of a hidden world. She imagines them presiding over secret invitations to crimson-lit rituals, held in the shadowy corners of luxury hotel suites. Industry A-listers, in her telling, trade devil horns and jars of black goo like party favors. According to her, the higher someone tries to climb, the stranger the demands become. Want airplay? Then prove your loyalty through a ritual. And the pressure, she insists, isn't only psychological. She points to what she calls the pipeline. The rumor-laced hierarchy where figures like Diddy and Jay-Z supposedly guard the velvet rope. She even brings up Aaliyah not just as a rising star, but as someone she believes was surrounded by forces she couldn't escape. In these whispered accounts, Jay-Z knows more about the situations involving Diddy and R. Kelly than he'll ever admit. In her narrative, this long history of looking the other way isn't merely gossip. It's a thread she believes ties together the survivor stories that emerge year after year, case after case.
Bet you want to know why Jay-Z and Beyonce's name keep popping up around the whole Diddy thing. Well, that's why I'm here. Now, first thing you gotta know is when somebody like Diddy gets taken down, things always start out as a rumor. Diddy has had rumors floating around for like decades. Well, Jay-Z had a problem. He right there in the corner, by the way. Jay-Z has had a few rumors himself, but more like speculation. People see Jay-Z in a picture of R. Kelly, they're like, I guess they both make music. Then Jay-Z with Harvey Weinstein. People are like, I guess they both do business. Then, of course, Jay-Z with Diddy. Now, hold on. Here's the thing. Jay-Z and Diddy go way back. Like back to the days when they were both coming up. So you could say they might just have a lot of respect for each other. But on the other hand, people are like, well, if you've known each other that long, Jay-Z, you must have known what Diddy was on. But Jay-Z has always had a history of keeping being quiet, which brings us to Aaliyah. Now, I'm sure y'all remember R. Kelly dated Aaliyah when she literally needed her parents' permission slip to get married. Now, if I remember correctly, her parents got the permission slip and said, "Marry who?" And that's how this whole thing got exposed. Now, a lot of people in the industry actually knew about this relationship because they would work with R. Kelly. They would be in the studio with R. Kelly. Now, according to Dame Dash, who listened closely, was Jay-Z's first business partner and also dated Aaliyah when she was 21. He said this is how it went. He said he didn't want anything to do with R. Kelly because everyone knew what type of timing R. Kelly was on. He looks over at Jay-Z and Jay-Z's out here creating collab albums with R. Kelly. But then he saw why. For starters, everyone had a crush on Aaliyah. People were waiting down the clock until she turned 18. But Jay-Z decided to get a head start. Now, there's absolutely no proof that Jay-Z went after Aaliyah, but people were like, let me see another picture. But apparently Jay-Z wasn't successful and Dame Dash started dating her when she was 21. Now, what does this all have to do with Diddy? It's the secrets. It's the, like what happened to Diddy, making people wonder. Nas came out, well, he technically didn't come out and say this, but while he was having his legendary beef with Jay-Z, he's doing a radio interview and he's saying, it's weird that Jay-Z be working with people that need a permission slip to marry somebody, okay? But again, rumors, kind of like what was happening to Diddy. But then this lawyer comes out and says, boy, do I got some news for y'all. And here's where it starts to get wicked. Now, he's going after Diddy. Specifically, listen closely, anyone that Diddy might have done something to, or anyone who's watched Diddy do some of these things and stayed silent about it. Now, first of all, the lawyer's taking calls from anyone. So theoretically, anyone could just call trying to get some money saying Diddy did this to me, Diddy should pay me. But in the lawyer's defense, I'm sure he's looking for people with proof. Honestly, I don't know him. He could be trash. Anyway, what he said next is what got people interested. He said, and I got some names. He said some wild names. Some names that will blow your mind. He's selling this. He's saying, yo, y'all finna wild out when you hear these names. I'm not gonna say it now, but y'all finna wild out. So people are like, Now, in Beyonce's case, it's just because she's married to Jay-Z and she's been in the industry for like 20 years. People are like, you must have known something. But that's all people have.
In her account, Aaliyah's tragic ending isn't an outlier, it's a warning. She describes industry parties that began with the casual, you're his type, you'll get in, and ended with girls isolated, frightened, and far too young. In her world, these rising stars were allegedly targeted by moguls too powerful to question. A drink handed over, a strange feeling creeping in, and then the shadows seemed to close around them. The culture of silence, she says, goes far beyond NDA letters. It's rooted in the fear that if you speak out, you don't just risk your career, you risk becoming the next sensational headline, or worse, the next tragic hashtag.
Diddy's sloppy. He was bound to get caught. Jay-Z, not sloppy. So he would be a tough one to catch. But on the other hand, the FBI is pretty good at their jobs. And remember that lawyer from earlier that's going against Diddy and is gathering all those names on his alleged accomplices? Well, he also said that he gave a lot of his information to the FBI. And if Jay-Z's name pops up, he's in trouble because how the FBI works is they'll take that information and they'll put it in a little vault with all the other information they might have on Jay-Z. When it's enough to lock him up, that's when they'll come out.
Now, for the first time, the walls feel like they're shaking for reasons far larger than tabloid drama. In her story, federal investigations swirl around powerful figures, new lawsuits surface, and that once untouchable aura around the industry's giants begins to crack. If you feel that itch at the back of your mind like every music industry scandal has just been the trailer before the real show, then buckle up. In her telling, this isn't some glitter-soaked conspiracy theory. It's bigger, darker, and emerging piece by piece. This isn't just another tell-all. She believes these are the breadcrumbs leading to the next cultural reckoning. Who's next? How deep do these rituals run? And after all these years, can anyone genuinely claim to be surprised? It's one thing to whisper about a corrupted system from the outside. But what happens when someone strong enough to refuse the so-called ritual finally steps forward to describe how the machine devours its own?
Their ambition is financial. Like, if you wanted to be the Black Bill Gates, as Beyonce says, no one can get in the way of that. And even people from smaller communities and smaller plights, you know, like to them, yeah, where is Sri Lanka? Who are the Tamils? Who cares? You know, I think to them, being part of and building this narrative of the American, you know, the wealthy Black community is more important. And whoever has to be thrown under the bus for that was what was going to happen. And I think Ben Brofman is also the first Black Brofman, you know, and that's a really important point to understand. So
What do you mean by that?
Because his mom is black, you know? And so I think that was a movement that was happening. And yes, I had the template that was radical and is the edge that hip hop needed, you know. But I was also inspired by hip hop and brought it back to America in a different form and shape on a very real situation, because there was actually a revolution happening in my country at the time, you know. And by then, hip hop had already moved into finance, where they were talking about bling. And I brought back the old school version of hip hop, where you're, you know, in the category of what artists like Nas and, you know, people that were more political and conscious, what they were representing. So it reignited something else. But then it got repackaged by hip hop, you know, and I think it did influence a lot of Kanye's taste or Rihanna's taste and Beyonce's taste. And what happened with those four artists, like Jay-Z, Kanye, Beyonce, and Rihanna, my stuff did affect that, you know.
M.I.A didn't just reject the devil horns of the so-called devil's deal. She's been calling out the entire system for years. In her words, they used her brilliance, her originality, and then tossed her aside the moment she stopped being convenient. Point blank, she says, the game's rigged so only the chosen ones reach billionaire status. But they only get there after they've drained your creativity, chewed you up, and repackaged your soul as their next big hit. And M.I.A's testimony isn't an isolated flare in the dark. For every survivor like her who lives long enough to speak, there's another story that ends with someone silenced, drugged, disappeared, or worse, stories swallowed by the very machine she's now daring to expose.
She said the party going off. You see celebrities from all over, but you also see a lot of like the really intense kind. So she talks to a couple celebrities, she chilling, and then she has something to drink. She said she immediately feels super duper lit and has to go lie down. She goes to a bedroom, she lies down. Then allegedly Diddy, Jay-Z, and an unknown female celebrity walk in. Diddy walk in tweaking. She said wild eyes, talking about, you ready to party? He like kind of shaking her. She falls. She then gets up. Then allegedly Jay-Z picks her up. And well, this next part might be a little intense. So if you're sensitive to that sort of thing, skip to when I put my hand up like this. So Diddy and that unnamed celebrity at this point are just watching while Jay-Z does stuff he shouldn't be doing. Then Diddy, after Jay-Z takes a step back, then begins to do stuff he shouldn't be doing. Afterwards, Diddy then allegedly tries to force her to continue. That's when she gets her wits about her and begins to scrap. Diddy's shocked, like, what's going on? She grabs her clothes, takes off. She's running through the party holding her clothes, and apparently nobody's doing anything to help. She gets outside, she gets those clothes on, runs to a gas station. Hand up for the folks that ain't want to hear all that, by the way. She gets to a gas station. The female clerk at the gas station sees that this girl's in distress, so she gives her a phone. She grabs a phone, she calls her dad, says, hey, I snuck out, come pick me up. Pops picks her up, Pops takes her home. Now, she then says this has affected her through her whole life, and it put her in a deep depression.
Take the survivor's story. It begins the way that many of them do just outside the glow of a glamorous party. She remembers being young, impressionable, surrounded by celebrities, and feeling that something in the air was slightly, quietly wrong. After a drink, her memory blurs. Then come flashes of fear, the sensation of being trapped, the unmistakable feeling of becoming prey. What follows is unthinkable. Instead of being protected, she's framed, set up, arrested, and discarded like evidence the machine no longer needs. The trauma lingers for life. Depression that won't let go, sudden triggers, waves of anxiety that crash without warning. She becomes yet another soul the system tried almost successfully to break. And when survivors like her attempt to rise, to name names, to seek justice, the machine only grinds harder. The moment they step toward the truth, the weight of the entire structure seems to press down, daring them to stop.
Let's talk about real quick what Jay-Z has to say about this, because he responds immediately. He says that lawyer, Tony Busby, remember that lawyer I showed you earlier? Jay-Z says he's basically doing all this for the cash. He's trying to blackmail me. Jay-Z then says for a crime as heinous as this, why would you file a civil suit? File a criminal suit against me. Now, for those of you that don't know, there are two different types of trials in the United States. There's a criminal case where basically the police is going after you, you're going to jail. Then there's civil which this case is. You're not going to jail, but you more often than not have to pay somebody money for damages. It's like getting sued. So Jay-Z saying, why would you sue me? Call the police. Jay-Z then goes on to say, I had to talk to my daughter about this. My daughter, she finna go to school and then what? Then Jay-Z said in the last line to the lawyer, I look forward to showing you how different I am. And here's where it starts to get wicked.
The mogul at the center of it all, the one who built an empire on the myth of the self-made icon, doesn't flinch. He brushes off civil lawsuits as cash grabs and dares anyone to take a criminal if they think they have a case. But look closely. Even someone as calculated as him knows the real danger isn't always prison, it's exposure. Because in civil court, questions get asked in public. Uncomfortable ones. Ones that force open the doors of carefully guarded history. And while the headlines cycle through endless he said, she said debates, people forget about the real victims, the ones caught in the crossfire. The ones who lost everything because they refused to play along. The ones whose brilliance was mined and stolen and then discarded. When their silence stopped being useful. In this chapter, the warnings are getting louder. The lawsuits are getting uglier. And the old industry tactic labeling every accuser as crazy, greedy, or attention-seeking doesn't work when the stories begin to align. And the skeletons tumble out of the closet. This isn't recycled gossip. It's the storm before the flood. And it's already pressing against the door. So now we go deeper into the insider layer, where the system's grip feels the tightest. Where defiance doesn't just stall a career, but triggers a whole machinery of psychological, financial, and personal sabotage designed to break you from the inside out. Have you ever wondered what happens when someone truly close to power starts seeing through the smoke? It's one thing for outsiders to whisper, but what happens when the daughter of the empire's CEO claims she has stories, real stories about what takes place behind the curtain no one is supposed to lift?
I haven't seen my mom since December 25th, 2023. That's the last time that I saw her physically. The last time I spoke to her was December 30th, 2023, when she said that I was dead to her. My mother and I, our relationship has always been strained. Miami-Dade Police Department storm into the room and they tell us, we received the call that you're getting beat up nonstop. We need to separate you guys and talk.
Whoa. Hold on. Wait a second. Because I want to make sure that everybody understands what's being said here. All of a sudden, he's pulling a DB on you. People have to come running in because they were called. Your mother wasn't there, right?
No. So it's important to note that my mother was in New York City. They stormed into the door because the police officer, she didn't say this on the body cam, but she told me, she said, we got the call. She's watching you from New York. There's a camera in here. If I were you guys, I would move out of here because clearly the people who live in here have a problem with you guys. That camera was not in a common area. That camera was in our bathroom, facing our shower in a closet. And
what?
Yes. It was in our closet. We had a closet in the shower that faces directly into the shower, into the toilet.
Someone installed a camera in there to be able to watch what you were. This is a total invasion of privacy, and there's no excuse for it.
The private investigators, where she rented the house directly across the street from us to watch us 24/7, who followed us to the farm. We already knew we were being followed, but I didn't know until after that arrest that they were living across the street. And then my therapist called me, and she goes, Demori, I had this weird girl come into my office, play this, the audio sounded nothing like you. I'm like, what do you mean? Can you describe her? She described her, and I go, I know who that is. I sent her the picture. I said, is it this woman? She goes, yes, how do you know her? I go, that's Natalie Anderson, known as Natalie Love, an assistant at Roc Nation.
Demuri Hadley's story isn't the usual I wanted fame and got burned confession. It's a full-blown horror saga unfolding in glass towers and polished conference rooms. She describes a world where even your home isn't safe because cameras can be hidden anywhere, and where your phone doesn't feel like your own because your cloud gets mysteriously breached. In her account, standing up to powerful people doesn't lead to fairness or justice. It leads to being labeled, arrested, shamed, and abandoned to pick up the pieces alone. Imagine being stalked by licensed private investigators while your own mother, the CEO, petitions a court to have you locked away for your own good. Imagine being accused of crimes that court records later confirm never happened, all because you might know secrets that could cost the wrong people everything. This isn't just a smear campaign, it's systematic retaliation using every tool available, public or private, legal or psychological, to isolate anyone who might dare to talk. Real insiders in her story don't blow the whistle. They get forced into silence, or something worse. And when you hear Dora speak, the question stops being what if. It becomes how far does this really go, and who's covering for whom? In a world where power is handed down like a family heirloom, her testimony hints at something even darker. If this is how they treat their own, what chance does anyone else have? So, let's pull back the last curtain. Step into a realm where the hype isn't the real magic. The real magic happens behind the scenes, on stage, backstage, and the minds of millions. Here, power isn't just money or fame. It's energy, ritual, and control so subtle you end up cheering for the very thing pulling the strings.
But y'all sitting up here trying to come for me because I'm speaking the truth about this witch, this high-ranked sorceress witch who has y'all under a spell. She had me under her spell too. I could admit it. I know Beyonce had me under her spell. And when I went to her concert, I think it was 2015. She had a concert on my birthday. I'm a twin. Me and my twin sister went to go see her. And I seen her in person. I seen the witchcraft in person. I seen how everybody stood up off their feet with their eyes just like really focused on her, not even looking around, unconsciously just standing up. I had to look around and see what was going on. Not only that, it was this one dance that she did, y'all. I forgot what album this was and everything because it's just like it left my mind because I turned it crazy. But she did this dance on stage and it was raining in Philly this day. And she was like, I love rain, I love water, because she has a marine spirit in her ocean. Then I told my sister, I turned to her, I said, she's about to do this rain dance and the rain's going to stop once she's done the ritual. Y'all, she started doing this dance, and mind you, I used to watch all her stuff. The girl can move.
First, a former practitioner of the same spiritual systems that the fictional superstar Bellas is rumored to study steps forward and lays everything bare. She describes the symbols, the ring dances, the honey and gold offerings, all of it tracing back to ancient deities and mythic marine spirits. She doesn't merely accuse, she explains the mechanics behind it all. The choreography becomes a ritual. The concert transforms into a stage-bound incantation. In her telling, Bellas isn't just an icon, she's a high-ranking mystic. Not metaphorically, but someone who channels power through centuries-old traditions. Reimagined and repackaged this dazzling pop spectacle. In her narrative, the magic isn't hidden, it's simply disguised as entertainment.
This woman is a high-ranked sorceress witch. She does a lot of covenant things. This is even people who are witches spoke out against her about blood covenants, children, rituals. She does love spells on her fans. She pranks around on the stage looking pretty and cute, and she does love spells on her fans. She does more than just love spells. Y'all participate in satanic rituals. The images on the screen, the way the stage is set up, the things that she do, y'all are partaking in her rituals. All she cares to do is to use y'all energy that she harvests, energy harvesting. She use your energy, she takes it, and then she puts back out more spells. All it does is charges her up, and then it just keeps y'all wrapped around her finger. Why this woman lives rent-free in your mind today. This is why her songs play in your head without you even listen to her music. This is why she's your screensaver. This is why all you could think of is things Beyonce, because it's a spell. Like, are y'all okay? Are y'all okay? Are y'all okay? Not we, but are y'all okay? Because I'm trying to figure it out. Like, y'all don't even know why y'all feel this way about this woman. Why y'all want to defend her all the time. Y'all under her spell.
He takes it a step further. In his view, the reason diehard fans can't explain their obsession isn't just the hooks, the visuals, or the flawless choreography. It's because, without realizing it, they become participants, sometimes even offerings, in an ongoing cycle of energy harvesting. Every concert, he argues, is a mass ritual. The lights, the bass, the crowd moving as one. It isn't phantom. It's invocation. In his telling, the superstar Bellas grows more powerful with every stadium that sells out across borders, every feed that floods with adoration, every online defense squad that mobilizes in her name. The more people worship, the stronger the current becomes. So where is the line? How much of this is entertainment and how much is something older, something closer to true magic? Most people have heard the whispers that some stars tap into spiritual forces to fuel their rise. But what if it isn't just rumor? What if the rituals, the symbols, the spells are real woven into the very fabric of the spectacle, hiding beneath the glitter and smoke?
Jay-Z did the crime or not. The only way you can get a famous, rich celebrity to pay you is by threatening their reputation. Because no, they can't arrest him, but boy, they can do something called a deposition. That means they can ask him any question, anything goes. Jay-Z, how old was Beyonce when you met her? They could be like, how old was Aaliyah again? Jay-Z could be like, hold on a second, now we was just friends. They'd be like, wow, you have all sorts of friends, huh? Especially your boy Diddy. Not a good look. Celebrities don't want people knowing all this stuff. The irony is, I just let you know all this stuff in this video, no trial needed. But anyway, why wouldn't Jay-Z just settle out of court, pay the money, keep his reputation clean? Well, that's because settling out of court don't work all the time.
Which brings us full circle. Are these the wild tales of scorned insiders, or the bravest warnings we'll ever hear? Truth has a habit of rising in waves. Ask anyone who once laughed off the old rumors surrounding powerful figures. In this story, the lawsuits keep coming, the testimonies keep multiplying, and the long-running cycle of secrets is finally starting to crack. Here's what really matters: if secrets this big can hide behind the bright smiles of the world's most watched celebrities, what else are we missing every time we cheer, repost, or tune in? Are we simply fans? Or have we become part of the fuel? And when the glamour fades, when the curtain falls, and when the truth can't be buried anymore, who will you trust to crown the next pop icon? And what will the real price be? If you enjoyed this chapter, hit that subscribe button so you never miss what's coming next. Until then, fam, stay awake, stay safe, and stay real.